In the previous video of our series, Org Chart in React, we allowed the employee node to be edited and updated interactively. The user could paste an image from a URL and the node will render it. Labels also get updated immediately. In our last video tutorial of this series, we will replace the default rectangle node that gets drawn when the user drags the mouse with an employee node. This will allow the user to create an org chart interactively. In order to make the diagram draw employee nodes on mouse drag, we have to use the set custom node type method. It tells the diagram to use the node provided as a parameter as default node when new shapes are created. We also have to set the diagram's behavior to custom. Resizing the diagram area is also quite easy. We increase the size of the bounding rect, and we will have more place to draw new nodes. What we want to do now is add a new feature. Let's assume we have a list with employee nodes, which we can drag and drop. We can add a different background to each of them to indicate a different level of the organizational hierarchy. Adding a background is easy. We need to add a new rect to the grid panel. When the rect is added first and is in a given cell, all content added to the cell will be drawn on top of it, which is exactly what we want. Note that we have to set a name to the rectangle. We will use it. Now let's import the node list view control from the diagramming library and let's initialize a new node list view in our component. We need two lists, one for the nodes that will be rendered by the node list view and one for their captions. We have to create a new employee node to add to the node list view. We cannot use the one we already have for the diagram because they will have conflicting IDs. We copy the code and create a new object, which we add to the nodes array. We keep the nodes and the captions in the state because we need to access them in the render method. In render, we bind the nodes attribute to the nodes list of the state. We do the same with the captions. Now, if we look at our app, we will see that the node list view is quite displaced. We'll add some CSS to style it. We'll have a container style for the work area. Then the item style for the node list view with fixed width. And finally, the diagram, it will take all the available space. Let's assign our new CSS classes to the respective HTML elements. The page looks much better. We can drag and drop a node, but the newly created node is too small. We can adjust its size through the default node size property. We set it to a size of 70 for width and 60 for height. We also set size for the icons in the node list view. And now when we drop new nodes, they are bigger and look better. The last thing we want to do is make the brush background be applied to newly created nodes. If we use set brush as we did before with the other properties, the brush will not be copied on the newly created nodes. We need to do some work to have this done. This is advanced technique, but you can use the code as it is. So, we first rename our current employee node class to be employee node base. Then we paste the code that will create a new employee node object, which is based on the employee node base and has a brush property. Now I will paste the code that describes the prototype of a class of the diagram item that uses employee node base as a base class. This code is part of the diagramming API and you can use it as it is. We also have the code to register the new class, employee node. Now if we create another employee node and change its properties like text and brush, it will render changed in the node list view. Let's create a new level of employee, say department head. We add it to the list with nodes and captions. Here's the diagram with the two different nodes. When we drag one of them, thanks to implementing all the methods of the prototype, an exact copy of the node is rendered. We can create now a multi-level diagram just with drag and drop. We can edit the images, the text of the employees, and build a whole company hierarchy in a user-friendly manner. And that's all for today. Thank you for watching, and thank you for your interest in MindFusion Developer Tools.